Just as I walked out of the door, he grabbed my arm and he whispered, "Thank you. Thank you so much, because I really needed this. And I think a lot of people won't admit that they really needed this." And the second that those words came out of my mouth, "I'm lonely," I started sobbing. Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk about an emotion, an experience that a lot of us carry quietly. And this is loneliness and isolation. I didn't think this was something I would be talking about so soon because, frankly, right now, I don't feel it. Usually, what I would like to talk about is something that's very strong and alive in the moment in my life. But I have been asked a bunch of questions about MDE Community, how I built it, where it started, how it started. And funny enough, maybe it's not really funny, but it was actually built out of loneliness and isolation, because my story goes back in 2018, where I started traveling around the world. I had just broken up with someone I was with for 4 years, and that was the start of obviously feeling very lonely and isolated, because I had planned my life with this man. We had planned to get married and have kids, and in the blink of an eye, it ended. And so I started traveling around Asia. And then after Asia, I got bored of it. So I went to Brazil, stayed there a year. And that was during COVID season. And I'm sure all of us know what it felt like during that time, where we were really locked in. The whole world froze. Now, I was pretty lucky because I was in a small beach town in the northeast of Brazil, in Bahia. And I was able to go outside, live a semi-normal life. And in a sense that I didn't have to lock myself inside the house or inside my apartment. I was able to go out on the daily. But for sure, it was extremely lonely because I didn't expect that. I went to Brazil thinking I'd be spending the next 3 months traveling around the country. And then, boom, the world shut down. Everyone felt lonely. Everyone fell into this experience that we didn't ask for. So that loneliness pretty much started there. And so after a year, I came to Medellin. And like most of us, if not all of us, carried that sense of loneliness of, okay, I want to connect again in person. Sure, I was able to connect and meet people in Brazil, but it's different when you go to a new place still during lockdown, or rather during COVID season, and you don't know anyone. And this is a situation most travelers, digital nomads, immigrants, expats, we all experience when we move to a new place. We don't know anyone. We don't know what to do. We don't know where things are. Our bearings are off. That was exactly my experience. Came to Medellin. I thought, okay, I'd like to get connected. And for some reason, it just wasn't easy. And it's so ironic because Medellin has so many events, so many things to do. People are friendly, but somehow I still couldn't get through and connect. I remember I joined a dance group, which was great. That was the start of everything. This guy, Hugo, I have to find him somehow. I know he's somewhere in my Facebook, but that guy changed my life because he was the one who connected me to everything I needed. I asked him for help with some hospital stuff, some dentist stuff. I wanted to ask about SIM cards. He gave me the lowdown on how I could go about traveling through Medellin. And then I showed interest in learning how to dance salsa and bachata. And then he added me to this WhatsApp group. I said, cool, okay. So then I got connected there. But at the same time, I wasn't a dancer yet at that time. So I wasn't really super into the conversations. So I thought, okay, maybe I should find something within my interest. So I did. I wanted to look for a hiking group. I found 2 of them and I asked to be let in. And the people that told me about it somehow couldn't let me in. First of all, they didn't have the link to the WhatsApp group. I said, okay, but then can you contact an admin so that they can let me in? For some reason, that admin wasn't responsive. And I thought to myself, why is it so difficult? Why is life making it so difficult for me to connect? It shouldn't be that hard. And that was what kept ringing in my head, is it shouldn't be that hard to connect with people. Why is it so difficult? Why is everyone making it difficult? Then I thought to myself, maybe this is not something they're doing intentionally. I still don't think it was intentional. It just so happened that the time that I needed access, it just wasn't given. So what do you do when there are no spaces that you like? You create them. And so for myself, I've always been very good with making friends through my travels. I build community within a day or two. I remember in Thailand, I was in Pai for a couple of weeks. And within the first 2 days, I already made friends. I had planned a weekend trip with only one other person, this Dutch girl. And within 3 days, I was able to rally 10 people. And within that weekend, we were able to bond so much that we treated each other like family, and we practically traveled together for the next couple of weeks through Pai and Bangkok and Chiang Mai. So I know I'm good at making friends, and I know others aren't. And so I started thinking, if I was frustrated with that simple experience, I can only imagine everyone else who's not very initiative in that sense. Because for me, I really want to, and I will do anything to make that happen. And I know there are certain people that want to make it happen, but then if, they're presented with one small hiccup, or rather a hurdle, a little bit of difficulty, they're going to stop. And I hate that, because the world is full of lonely people. Everyone wants to connect. Why is this such a difficult thing to resolve? So I thought to myself at some point, okay, let me see what I can do. I went to a Facebook group. I asked for a board game group, or at least people who like playing board games, because these are some of the things that I know are easy to find, and I love playing board games. A guy gave me access to a WhatsApp group, and I said, hey, so how often do you meet? What do you guys do? And he said, oh, there's not much, but you can feel free to organize your own thing. So I said, okay, I'll organize something. And slowly we started having something. And I thought, okay, I need this to really happen, because I planned to stay in Medellin that year for quite a long time. And I really wanted to build community. So I said, okay, let's do this. Let's make it happen. I told myself every Sunday, 4 p.m., go to this place, go to this board game cafe, no matter what, show up and just see how it goes. This is actually one of the pillars in building community, in my opinion. This is the way that I see it. So one is consistency. So if you show up on a regular basis, weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, whatever that is, if people can trust that you're going to do that, they will show up. A lot of the times people take time to join something, and sometimes they want to feel it out first. And in the many years that I've been doing this, people want to feel out first what this is like and not go in blindly. So I believe that consistency is something that will really, really, really work for community. Not just believe, I know it, I've seen it, I've done it. The other thing is obviously connectivity. What is that one thing that binds everyone together? The common denominator. So a common interest, a common location, even just a common location is enough. You're all in this one place, dale, that's your connection. Connectivity and consistency. So I thought, okay, let's do this. In a matter of time, that meetup became very regular. To this day, I've seen the community grow on its own, and people are taking the lead, which is great. I always love when people take initiative as well, because this world needs more initiators. I know that I'm one, and I know that's why I'm able to build community, but it's very much lacking in the community. And so to see people step up and take up this role, I'm It makes me so happy. And so that happened. I was able to build the board game group, and then I started dancing a lot as well. So two communities were really great. And I thought, okay, what else can I do? I personally love hiking. So then I started a hiking group, and same thing, did something regularly, got a lot of people. And then eventually I still felt like, okay, I still don't feel like I've cured the loneliness. It's so easy to meet people and meet a bunch of new friends, but actually, really, are they friends? So then I thought, okay, let's slow down. Let's do something that's a bit more connecting. I started organizing small meetups where I limited it to 4 or 5 people. And I thought, okay, this is actually really great. And so I thought, okay, this is a way to do it. That's the third pillar, is intimacy. So find people of the same interest or some common denominator. Do it regularly and do it in a smaller group. Big groups are great. Those are so much fun. But at the same time, if you want to go deeper and make better connections, go with smaller groups. So this was something that I did. And eventually I started feeling like I could belong. I ended my first year in Medellin, and I thought, okay, this is something. The second year, I thought, okay, I think I'm on a roll. Let me start running a ton of events. I've already done the hiking, the board games, and etc. I did more events. This was when I started doing Beyond Small Talk, which is an event where I gather 15 to 25 strangers. And sure, it's a big group, but within the event itself, I break down people into smaller groups of 3 or 4 people. And this is how we facilitate more meaningful connections through deeper conversation. And I thought this is the perfect event for people who are just arriving in Medellin, or who've been in Medellin for quite some time but still feel disconnected. And that's kind of how pretty much everything was born with MDE Community. I just had my own WhatsApp groups. I know of other WhatsApp groups that existed, and so I wanted to, cross promote them as well. And then I started running a bunch of events. I also did retreats to better connect people over a course of a few days. And that's how MDE Community was born, actually. Is MDE Community is really about real connection in many forms. How can you build those connections in different kinds of events, different kinds of spaces? Because not everyone is going to like a pure conversation-based event. I know not everyone likes Beyond Small Talk because it's so hyper-focused on conversation. And so then I also, I almost forgot, I started the cooking club. So the cooking club was very simple. Maximum 8 people. Again, intimacy. Maximum 8 people. We all love to cook and eat. Well, not everyone likes to cook, but they like to eat. That's the common denominator. And we did this quite consistently as well. That was one of the other really good events that worked for MDE Community, for people to connect, is because it wasn't conversation based. You weren't forced to sit and talk with someone. Instead, you were bonding over an activity. So in the group, we would have a couple of people in this section, in this area, cutting carrots. And in that area, they're marinating the meat. And so those people now, with a shared activity, not just a shared interest, but now a shared activity, bonded them. These were the events that I started creating. And in no time, everyone just connected. I don't know how I did it, but I just knew that I was attracting the right kind of people. And that's what MDE Community is all about as well. Again, Medellin has its elements already. I just wanted to bring it all together. I wanted it to be easy for people. So how it officially manifested MDE Community was when I had a full link tree, a directory of all the WhatsApp groups that I could possibly think of. I had myself 10 to 15, and then I knew of others as well, so I put it on there. And that's how MDE Community started. I didn't just want to build my own communities. I wanted to support other people who wanted to build communities. I wanted to support other people who, already were there. They already had communities existing. And so this was how MDE Community was born. Just really trying to not be lonely myself and trying to help other people not be lonely as well, running events, and then ultimately just making it easy. Go to the website, you see all the WhatsApp groups I could think of. I'm going to admit, not all the WhatsApp groups are there because I also have values and principles that these WhatsApp groups need to align with. I know a lot of groups have discrimination, are homophobic, and so that doesn't really align with the values that I have for MDE community, which is obviously with respect and the goals of really connecting that empowers all of us, personal growth, etc. I feel awful for not remembering my mission and vision and my values, but MDE community was born from heart. I think people really underestimate loneliness because people are so afraid to admit it. I was afraid to admit it. I remember the last time I admitted it was a few months ago. And the second that those words came out of my mouth, I'm lonely, I started sobbing. And it was such a release. It was so cathartic to be able to cry out and just feel the emotion. And I wonder this, if loneliness is a feeling. 100% yes, but it's also just an experience. And I want to say this because sometimes that loneliness cannot be fixed. Recently, I became a mother, and I've been reading and hearing about loneliness and isolation as a mom, and I didn't really know how that would manifest. And I kind of understood that this year because I'm surrounded by a wonderful community of people. I have so much support, mentally, emotionally, everything. My mom was even here when I gave birth. She was here for 2 months after that as well. But I still felt lonely. I was in my room holding my baby crying because I just felt that no one could understand how I felt. And it was ironic because my mother is there, my family's there. She would know. She's a mom. But then I realized I couldn't even get myself to talk to her. I couldn't even get myself to feel that she could help me stop feeling lonely. And so I thought, okay, maybe I can meet other fellow moms of my age. And so I did. Built a community of single moms. And to a degree, they did understand me. I remember that someone, not necessarily finished my sentence, but they read my mind. And I thought, oh, wow, I was literally about to say that. But then I realized, of course, she gets it. She's a fellow mom. But again, to the core of me, I was still lonely. And I thought, man, this is what they're saying. There's so much loneliness and isolation there's just this mindset in the middle of your brain and in the middle of your brain and in the middle of your heart that is just saying no one else can relate. And it's so loud. And you can't quiet it. And it was such a weird feeling. But then I found that the way to fix it was to just feel it and let it pass. And I thought, okay, like any emotion, it'll pass. Like any experience, you have to go through it. And so I thought, okay, bring it. Let's feel the loneliness and isolation. And so I don't know how long it took, but eventually I stopped feeling lonely. So now that I think the general, what I call the normal loneliness that people feel, maybe that's also something to consider, is you don't have to always fix the loneliness. You have to just let it be. You have to experience it, and then it'll pass. I'm always very strong about feeling emotions and having experiences and letting it swallow me and letting it take over me and really just, meeting it head on, because I feel like that's the fastest way to get through it rather than just like sitting there and taking it. I'd rather just go head on, not fight it, go through it, and then it'll pass. I remember this one time as well in Brazil, way before I came to Colombia. I remember it was a simple meetup that I organized, and for me, it was nothing. It was just another Monday or Tuesday brunch with people. But after we left, this one guy, very quiet, very introverted, just as I walked out of the door, he grabbed my arm and he whispered, "Thank you. Thank you so much, because I really needed this. And I think a lot of people won't admit that they really needed this." And that really hurt me, because we're really hiding a lot of our emotions. We're really hiding a lot of our loneliness. And there's so much shame around it. And I feel like this is something that we need to fix. I needed to admit that myself as well. And I feel like that was the only way for me to fix it, was to admit it. Step 1, admit it. Step 2, go through it. Let the emotion take over. Let the experience happen. Don't fight it. Meet it head on. I know that building community isn't easy. I don't blame you. I've seen it around a lot where people struggle to connect. But I always try to encourage people to just take one small step. Make one friend. Be intentional with it. And maybe that can help you with loneliness. I still don't think it's wrong to try different methods to cure loneliness. But obviously, I would recommend doing it the healthy way. Don't start smoking like I did when I was 18 just to make friends. Don't try to fit in a crowd just because you think that it will cure loneliness. No. Figure yourself out first. Understand who you are, what you want, what are the things that make you excited and happy. And then with that, figure out what are the ways, the different avenues, the different channels that I can explore to meet people, or not even just meeting people. Sometimes I think it's not just meeting people that cures loneliness. It's just bringing yourself back to reality and grounding yourself on earth, and just understand that we exist. I know this is going a bit more woohoo conversation, but sometimes, I just want to go out and understand the world is so big. I live in it. I'm very lucky to be alive. Life is beautiful. Loneliness doesn't mean it's always cured by people, because you can be in a crowd and still feel lonely. But I think it's just reminding yourself of where you are. I personally think that helps a lot. Take a walk outside. I like to people watch and just observe and just start thinking, everyone else out there is just like us. And I think that's why a lot of people feel lonely as well, is we always think we're so different. We always think we're behind in life, or we always think I don't have enough friends, or I don't do enough things. And I feel like that's such a terrible way to see things. Adds to the loneliness. But I think the second you start thinking, we're all just the same. We're all trying to survive. We're all trying to live life. We're all trying to just do what we want to do. And it makes you feel less lonely. My simple wish for the world, and I may call it simple, but I know it's not easy to do, and it's not a simple thing to just commit to. But I really wish that first of all, we can admit to how we feel. The second that you start admitting that, it really is very cathartic. If you feel lonely, if you feel isolated, if you feel sad, angry, say it. And then after you say it, feel it. And after you feel it, experience it. And then let's do something about it. I don't believe in hurried solutions. I always want to take a step back and understand, okay, what are my options? How can I resolve this? Con calma. Because when we try to fix things very quickly, sort of like a band-aid solution, it's very temporary, it's very short term. And I feel that if we do take our time to understand, okay, what are our options and what can we do? That way we can have a better understanding, a better structure on how we can resolve this. Because honestly, loneliness is such an epidemic in our personal lives, at work, even within our friends, and even within our families. It's normal to feel lonely and isolated. But unless we understand what's causing it, it's not really something that we can fix. But at the same time, this is where the irony comes in, is maybe it just is. The experience is just that you have to go through the loneliness. All these cliche things come into my mind of no rainbow without the rain and all that different stuff. But it is kind of true. And cliches are cliches for a reason. So I hope that this episode has helped you sort of just understand that it's okay to admit to whatever you're feeling, especially loneliness, especially isolation, because you're not alone. And the second you realize that, it really does make feel everything less lonely. Thank you for listening.